So this morning for our Let's Talk session, keeping in mind that this is actually an experiment, which I'm not so sure is really working out, but I'm willing to try it until the end of the year. And if we don't have any more participation, I think I'll set it aside and maybe we'll try it again later on. The Let's Talk segment was designed to help us get to know one another better by having interactions, questions, answers, and in such a way that it brings us closer together as a group with the webinar and here physically and with the teaching. So since there are no questions this morning, I sort of anticipated that. And there's a handout, which I handed out locally, and Terry has put up on the website, the webinar. There's a PDF that you can download or open up and access so that you can see it. And this is a verse from the book Illumination, which is the second volume of Leaves of Moria's Garden. And it's taken from verse 235. And there were a few of us Saturday morning that we were discussing this verse, and I thought, well, maybe this would be something you all would be interested in. So let me read it. I've kind of changed the sequence of the verse so that it would be easier for me to read through it, and then by accident I copied my copy and gave it out to everybody. So what I have and what you're going to have as a PDF file on the webinar appears to be different, but the information is the same. So it's from verse 235, and it starts by saying this: friends. Friends, that's an important word, friends. Place 4 stones into the foundation of your actions. The first stone should be reverence of hierarchy. The second stone is realization of unity. The third stone, realization of co-measurement. And the fourth stone is application of the canon by thy God. So these are 4 stones that we are to put in the foundation of our life to serve as principles for the way we live. So he goes on to say the affirmation of the first stone is to evoke all your love. And to do that, Master M is suggesting, he says, recall from your childhood the best smiles, the brightest rays of the sun, and the first song of the birds beneath the window. For the second stone, the realization of unity, he says, gird yourselves in the armor of the day. Take up the weapons of your actions and refresh your perception by a draught of cooling water. For the third stone, he says, select in your workroom the longest vertical line and call it the dimensional scale of the plan. Apply mentally all discontents, irritations, and fatigues to the scale of the world plan. And upon comparing, you will not find even the smallest place for illusory moods. And the fourth stone, picture to yourself all the boundlessness of the stellar universe. He says, verily our Father has many abodes. Which of them shall we stain? Recalling the given canon by thy God, imagine that out of a closed house you are coming into the light. And then he says, for the first stone, inscribe a dove. For the second stone, a warrior. For the third stone, a pillar. And upon the fourth stone, the sun. So, that's the verse. Do you have questions? Do you have comments? You can pick out any one of these stones and share what you think it means. And keep in mind, there's no right and wrong, it's just your level of perception of what it means. So, for example, with the first stone, reverence for hierarchy, it's interesting. What he's doing is he's giving us, helping us to create an environment, helping us to create an atmosphere wherein we can recognize and have reverence for the hierarchy. So he suggests that we think about, in the morning time, the first song of the birds beneath the window. So that's a suggestion to us to get up early at dawn, or just maybe a few minutes before dawn, when everything is so quiet and peaceful, and we listen to the song of birds. I have a co-worker in London who sent me an amazing audio MP3 recording of a blackbird. Now, blackbirds are not my famous, or not my best liked bird. Actually, I don't like them at all. They're huge and clunky and ugly, But as I listened to the song of this bird, which then my friend put music to accompany the melody of this blackbird, you would never have recognized the melody of a blackbird. It was so beautiful and so harmonic. Now I'm hoping I'm going to see and hear another blackbird to kind of compare that recording, to and what I heard on the recording to a live blackbird. But the point being that if we just listen at the crack of dawn, this song of birds, let it remind us of the beauty and the solemnity and the peace of and the power of hierarchy. When he says, recall from your childhood the best smiles, what does that mean to you? Why would he say this, the Master?
To me, it said, recall the joys of childhood.
Okay.
Yeah.
Catherine?
I was thinking of joy as well.
Okay, and why should we think about the joys of our childhood?
It was a more innocent time.
From the what?
More innocent time.
More innocent times, yeah.
Because it ignites the joy in our heart. It just feeds that joy fire. When we think about joy, it just keeps building joy.
When we think about our childhood, right? Then we think about joy.
When I think about those best smiles of childhood, I think of when I was most open and when life was so, you had so much gratitude, it was so magical.
Isn't that beautiful? Yeah, so we need to, this is a beautiful and such a simple instruction, how to start our day. Now, there is a, which one was it? I really enjoyed it, the third stone of co-measurement. So I related it to my work day, where he says, select in your workroom the longest vertical line and call it the dimensional scale of the plan. So I took it to mean, and from this perspective, all that I had planned to do for that particular day or any day in my work life, and to take a look at the priorities and the importance of those priorities in comparison to the plan of the week, and then in comparison to my life purpose. And then I go back to that list of priorities for the day and say, just how important is this list to the plan of my soul, to the plan of the week, to the vision, of my group life. And it really put things in perspective. When I found myself during the day getting irritated or tired or filled with discontent because the day wasn't going the way I had planned. And it puts it in perspective by looking at the greater and the overall plan. And it also helped me to prioritize my work, in a better way. And thus the third stone is co-measurement. Okay, that's really all we have time for, but take these 4 stones and think about them today. And I don't have the questions on my screen. I can't.
There's a couple of comments.
Okay, I see it now. Yeah, Elena says blackbirds were the birds of Apollo. Yeah, thank you for the reminder. I did know that. That's great. Thanks, Elena. And the other comment from Doreen is, childhood, we're more closely connected with the world of nature. I think that's what, Richard, you were thinking of. And the spirit found in creation. So it's wonderful to take this verse 235 from Illumination and just kind of carry it with us during the day. If we find ourselves getting irritated or fatigued or filled with discontent, let's think about co-measurement. Think about what the Master is saying, and so forth. Anyway, thank you for your feedback. That makes me feel better about this segment. This morning I'm talking about the winter solstice and preparations for Christmas. Portions of today's talk are excerpts from a book written by Torquem Saradarian called The Teachings of Christ. In this book, there's a chapter that tells us about the importance of preparing for Christmas. For example, the chapter starts by discussing the subject of synchronicity and the sun. So what this tells us is that we need to synchronize ourselves with the sun. People in general do not realize that if they align themselves with the sun, they can absorb the electricity, the electromagnetic energy of the sun and its magnetism. On Friday, the 21st of this month, the sun will turn to the north and the light is going to increase. The 21st of this month is the winter solstice, and the sun enters the constellation of Capricorn. You can plan that day to align yourself to the electromagnetic energy of Capricorn, the Capricornian sun, and its magnetism. Torquem Saradarian wrote a little about the winter solstice by asking or answering a question that one of his students had asked him. The student asked, "Is there anything that we should do in preparation for the winter solstice and for Vesic?" his answer was, of course. One is the seed, and the other is the bloom. So the seed planted would be the winter solstice, and that seed would then bloom during the full moon of Taurus, also known as Vesak. At the winter solstice, the seed is there. What is happening? The sun is growing. You will charge yourself, he said. Charge yourself. And in the Vesak full moon, tremendous high energies are going to burst. And you will catch. But you must have hands to catch. For example, when a person throws a heavy ball, their fingers bend. What is that hand? One of the great Egyptian kings in the 4th dynasty put a sun behind his throne, and the rays of the sun were the hands. It is so symbolic. When you are a sun, when you are radioactive, then you have power. Power to give and the power to take, which means in esotericism to be impressed and to be creative and to be expressive. So this is so beautiful. Christmas is the moment, the day, or the week in which we are taking actions to synchronize ourselves with the source of love and light and life. We are going to wipe out all that is a hindrance in our system, in our body, in our being. Every friction between ourselves and these three forces, light and love and life, is the source of sickness. Every friction between ourselves and love and light and life is the source of sickness, the source of foolishness, of ignorance and ugliness, and so forth. These are very easy words, but if you ponder on them, you're going to see that your life really can be, a radiance, an amazing radiance of beauty, but we must first remove these hindrances. Are you tired enough of the way things are presently going for you in your life that you are going to be willing to remove the frictions, the hindrances from your life? Really think about this. There's so much dialogue that we could share with one another about this. And I was thinking, just because it's so much on my mind this morning, I received a early morning phone call from a dear friend whose brother they had just discovered had died. He had a heart attack. And nobody knew this they didn't find him for 4 or 5 days. And the young man was the man that died who had the heart attack was a very troubled man. And he was so beautiful. I knew him as a child. He was so beautiful and so radiant and so wonderful to be around. He was spiritual. He was very much in the teaching. And then one day, his life changed. And he moved away from what his family taught him, what I had taught him, what we all tried to live. And he moved into darkness. This is not an exceptional story. I mean, it's exceptional to me because I'm sad. My heart is broken that, he is no longer with us. But this is not an unusual story where, like in the 4 stones of our foundation, the cornerstone of our foundation that, we were talking about when we were a child, and smiles and the rays of the sun. And we're so naive when we're young, and it's so wonderful and beautiful, and we dance and sing and just act crazy. We don't have inhibitions. We don't get irritated. Until we grow up and become an adult, and life just kind of caves in on us. And Christmas is that time to let's return to those moments and recall those moments of our childhood where, we were young and dancing and singing and naive to the difficulties of life. And now think about how we can synchronize ourselves like we were when we were children, but now as adults, to synchronize ourselves with love, the source of love, the source of light and life, to remove the frictions, the hindrances from our life. So this is what we're going to do starting on the winter solstice, which esotericists consider Christmas. So today is the 16th. Mark the 21st on your calendar if you want to participate in this exercise with the rest of us. If you live in the mountain time zone, the exact time of the solstice will be at 4:23 p.m. That's Mountain Standard Time, Friday, the 21st. And this is when we're going to begin our preparations. How and what we are going to eliminate, how we're going to eliminate these frictions from our life. For example, everything that is against light within you, stop it. Just stop it. Stand in the light. Speak. Speak in the light. Express yourself in that light. Your conversations must be of light. Your words must be the carriers of light. If there is any darkness within you, then you are creating a friction between yourself and your higher nature, your higher self. The sun does not only exist in the sky, it also exists within us. Once we align with the sun that is within us, then we're going to be ready to synchronize ourselves with the sun and the universe. Once this happens, once we align our inner sun with the sun in the universe, then a new door is going to open up for us where we will align with the sun in the galaxy, the center of the galaxy. The wisdom teachings throughout the ages has given us legends and stories about the Zoroastrians, the Egyptians, the Hindus, the Tibetans, and many other nations, saying that they worship the sun. For example, in Egypt, thousands of years ago, a great king made a picture of the sun that they used to worship. But it was not the physical sun that they were seeing. It was the sacred, central, spiritual sun, the source of all creation. In England, the Druids used to worship the sun because of the three qualities of God: light and love and life. There was the drawing. We've seen many, many drawings or magnetic energies that have attracted so many of us to the circle of stones called Stonehenge, which is about 90 miles west of London. all of those gigantic boulders that are so easily recognized by most of humanity now is based on the alignment of the sun and the planets orbiting the sun. Life. Life means in everything we do and think and feel is the life. That means that everything that you do and think and feel must be done as if you are the life. You see, we are not the body, we are not the emotions, we are not our fears and angers. We are not even our thoughts and ideas. We are a wave of the ocean of life. Once we really realize this, once this knowledge is really established within us, we are then synchronizing ourselves with the source of life. It's so interesting, when we are synchronized with the source of life, whatever we think, that is who we are. When we are synchronized with the source of life, it is then whatever we think, that is what we are. So starting on the 21st, we are going to prepare ourselves for Christmas. Thought releases the energy and aligns us with the life stream of the universe. So starting on the 21st of December, the winter solstice, we are going to align the sun within us to the source of life. And we are all going to think as if we are the life. That we are not the body, but the life. So we are going to bloom in the sun. Vesak. They're going to bloom. In that blooming, we are going to express compassion and love and cooperation, harmony or harmonization and integrity. We are just like flowers that bloom in the sun. Just think of yourself as that bud that is now going to bloom in the sun. We have little etheric centers that are flowers. In other words, we are becoming a Christmas tree. The Christmas tree is the symbol of a blooming person. If we start synchronizing ourselves with the electricity of the universe, with the light of the universe, then we are going to bloom. We are going to manifest color and sound. We are going to become influential in the life. We are going to become creative. So that's life. Love. Love is the second quality. As we synchronize ourselves with the radiating love of the sun, our love is going to increase. And when this happens, we're going to change ourselves. We're going to say, you know, I don't want to talk about these things. I don't want to think about these things. I don't want to act and behave this way or that way anymore, because these things are against love. And the third quality is light. We are going to increase our light. Many great masters say that if a person comes with great encyclopedic knowledge and sits there, but another poor person comes who is really spiritual The masters can tell which is which by the light. The poor man's light is 30 miles wide, but the one encyclopedic mind does not have any light. Light is the expansion, the unfoldment of our true self. When we start fusing ourselves with the light, with the love, and with the life of the Almighty Presence, we will pass through the transformational process. Our physical body will change, our emotional body will change, our mental body will change, and we will experience a new cycle of spring. We are all going towards spring. Okay, so some exercises. Physical preparation. Clean your house, your kitchen, your bathroom, bedroom, and so forth, or get somebody to help you. Try to make everything clean if you can. If there's anything around your house that is decaying, throw it out. Clean it. Old shoes, jackets, and shirts that you are not using, get rid of them. You can do the same thing emotionally and the same thing mentally. We are going to be clean. Try to say, I'm going to be clean. My stomach is clean. My brain is clean. My hands are clean. Exercise your divine will and say, I'm going to practice for at least 1 week some kind of cleanliness. So that's the first. The second, at sunrise. Now think of those birds. They're going to get you up at sunrise so we can listen to their song. Now here's the exercise. Every morning raise your right hand at sunrise and hold your left hand out and say, my Lord, pour down your blessings so that I can pass them on to the world. Feel it. It is so beautiful. This was used in ancient times by great priests. For example, they used to go to the top of the pyramid and invoke the sun. Zoroastrian priests, Tibetans in the Himalayas, in Greece, in North and South America did this. When the sun starts to go north on the 21st, the winter solstice, the first thing that happens is that the energy hits our system and our synchronization starts. Our atoms and our cells are going to freak out. They have to arrange themselves and synchronize themselves now with the sun. How? Well, we have to cooperate using the exercises which I'm sharing this morning. If you do not, then you are going to be creating friction between yourself and the inpouring light. Now, with these exercises, we are trying to synchronize ourselves, our aura, so that we are becoming a bridge between the earth and humanity and all kingdoms, and also the superhuman kingdom. So that's the exercise done in the morning. At noon, we can say, lead us, O Lord, from darkness to light, from the unreal to the real, from death to immortality, and from chaos to beauty. That's at noon. At night, we can meditate at sunset for 5 minutes. This is a 1-week program. At sunset, we're going to say, my Lord, let your compassion increase in my heart so that I am filled with your compassion. When we open our mouths, instead of nonsense coming out of our mouth, let blessing and light and love and beauty express themselves. As at sunset, at bedtime. When you go to bed, you can say, may my soul, like a fragrance, rise to your presence. May my soul, like a fragrance, rise to your presence. Imagine that your soul, like a fragrance, rises to the Almighty presence. It is so beautiful. When your whole family or your group do these exercises, what a blessing is going to come to you. Say as you go to bed, Lord, may my soul, like a fragrance, rise to your presence. If my soul rises to your presence, then I do not have any fear of anybody or anything. I am in light because I am with you, and nothing can stand against me, period. So every night before you go to sleep, hand yourself to that Almighty presence. And when you awaken, believe me, you will see that your body is fragrant, because it is your thoughts that makes you fragrant or make you smell very badly. The sunset will take your compassion everywhere. At sunset, you are giving your compassion to the rays of the sun, to take to the other parts of the world. And when the sun comes back because you gave to it, it will give back to you. If you still want other things to do in preparation for Christmas, every day from the 21st, give something to somebody with all your love. Even if it is a small card or $10, a little dark chocolate, a flower, give something. Bring something secret every day that week and surprise your spouse or child or a friend. See if you can do this every day. If you can do this, you will see what a change is happening, because this technique is the secret of synchronization. Christ once said, it is so much more blessed to be those who give than those who receive. The blessing is coming. So we must change ourselves and others and everybody with the charge of love. Who cares what we know? I know, not many. I'm sure you've all had that experience where you gave your best and greatest piece of wisdom, and the next moment, yeah, okay, what time am I meeting you at, the restaurant? And it's like, so who cares what we know? Who cares what we are? Who cares how much money we have or don't have? If we do not have love, we are zero. We do not exist because, why? We are a burned out light in the presence of God. Only light increases us. Only love increases our light, because love unites us with the Almighty light. So that's it for this morning.